the Adam Chief Mountain Nut that race our district too. And as you know, we have a balletized fire levy lid lift going on. And so we wanted to open up tonight to the public to come in and ask your questions you may have about what to expect or what is going on, and kind of give you the best information so you can make an informed decision come the ballots coming out in the mail, and go from there. So I'm going to kind of open it up. It's pretty informal, and we'll answer your questions so that way we're maximizing your time.
Hey, my question is how much money are you looking to get from this, and what is it going to be used for?
Okay, currently we're collecting $1.11 per thousand on the assessed value. We're looking to raise this back up to the $1.50 amount that was back in 2020 was set to capitalize the gains we can get. The money we're looking to use for is a multitude of things. We have some facilities that are in need of attention. Our Brady station is sadly in need of some siding upgrades. It's the original siding from 1969. It's been maintained, but it's starting to wear and needs to be fixed and replaced. We also want to start putting money into an account to start replacing our fire apparatus. The trucks, the volunteers, and the career staff here do a great job of maintaining our equipment, but it's getting aged. The average age of our fire apparatus right now is 30 years old. And so the wear and tear, hours of use are starting to begin to show on the trucks. And we need to start making a plan to replace these because parts are going to eventually run out. And it needs to start becoming a priority for us here. As well as pay for some maintenance costs for personnel and equipment. We constantly are trying to upgrade items for a safer response. And the increase in cost is another thing that's driven this. Quick examples I can give you are fire hose. Right now, we just had hose testing and had some fire hose fail. We're going to have to replace. For a section of 2.5-inch fire hose that's 50 feet long, back in 2020, it cost us $1.95. Yes, $1.95 to replace that section of hose.
Per foot?
No, for the section. $1.95? Sorry, $195. Sorry, $195. Thank you. $195 for a section. That same hose now costs us $321. That was a 64% increase. As well as the increase in fuel for the vehicles. We're responding to more emergencies. So now we have trucks burning through more diesel. I just did a quick number on that today to get the most updated cost. And I use national averages because that's what we get a hold of the best. The national average from 2021, January of 2021 now, has been a 70% increase in fuel cost. So everything is climbing, and unfortunately, currently, without the Levy Lid Lift, we're locked into a 1% increase as opposed to the 70% increase in fuel, so it all starts to add up over time.
So you're adding more staff also here?
We would like to look into adding more staff, but we don't have any current plans in place to do that. We have other priorities such as the buildings and getting some of the equipment updated first. Staff is definitely going to have to be looked at in the future though.
And what about how's it going trying to recruit more volunteers in there?
It's going fairly well. Our recruitment and retention committee is doing a good job. Lately we've been getting a lot more recruits that have been interested from outside of the fire district. They're coming from Hope and Aberdeen because of course they don't have the ability to volunteer in those areas. So they're coming over here, which has helped us out. We do have a few recruits in the district that are coming on board, and hopefully we'll be able to reach out and grab some more.
Okay. What's this going to cost? I seen a thing about the average home of 200 and some thousand. There's no 200 and some thousand home in Central Park. My house is over that. So what would it cost for an average home of $300,000?
$300,000 home, at our current rate, you're collecting at about, it's going to be an increase of about $117 a year, which breaks down to $9.75 a month for $300,000.
But you got to remember, you know, everything. The thing I look at is everything's going up.
Correct.
Those that are retired, wages don't go up. They stay where they're at. Don't be sitting and watch everything else go up and try to match. How are we going to survive when more and more money comes out of our pockets and stuff. That's my biggest concern.
And, you know, we've heard that concern from quite a few. Go ahead, Commissioner Everett.
No,
I think something to say.
I'm just kind of threw my hand up there, it wasn't a comment, but I live in the same neighborhood and pay the same taxes and pay for the same gas, you know, so I understand your concerns. We don't like having to do this, believe me. Anytime you come with your hand out, it's just not a good feeling. But the truth of the matter is that all of our inflation outruns what this agency is able to collect by law. And 1% per year limit increase over the previous year's budget is a real hamstringer for making any long-term plans, for making any high capital budget plans, because you don't know what you're going to have versus what things are going to cost. One of the aspects of this lid lift that we haven't touched on yet is this is a one-time. It doesn't repeat year after year that we go up and maintain the $1.50. We're asking to restore that for next year, for the tax year, and beyond that, it reverts back to the 1% per year.
Okay, so this is a one-year lift.
This is a single year lift.
Single year lift.
So it would lift to $1.50, and then the increase would then be the 1% after that until we were to ask for another levy of it.
So yes, we would tap into kind of a short-term, okay, we got back to where we were back to baseline, but then we will start to backslide again, just as sure as inflation is going to happen every year to some degree. So it's just a progression that's going to happen. You'll see it again someday from here. You'll probably see it maybe from a library or a hospital district sometime, because we all have to play the same game for the same allotment of money from the state.
Right.
So, what was really interesting when I was researching the information for this was the growth or the increased percentages from 2020 to now. Construction's going on at 35%. The fuel at 70%, that one really shocked me. I didn't realize it was that much. The hose being 64%, the equipment is it's getting larger and larger. We just ordered some new sets of personal protective gear the firefighters wear. Just the coat and the pants. We're at $3,700 for just the coat and the pants. Where back in 2020 numbers, you were looking probably at least $1,000 less at the time for the combination. Materials are getting more expensive. The time's getting more expensive. And we're trying to keep up with that, but that 1% really kind of locks us in. Even the fire trucks.
My concern was more because I had heard about it, and we've always supported the fire department, but as to what the actual use of it was going to be.
And the fire trucks, the crews here do a wonderful job of maintaining what we have. But 30-year-old fire trucks are going to show their age. Most people don't even own their automobile for 30 years. And these trucks are being driven out and then ran for hours at a high rate to pump water and do things, where the average car is driven from A to B and then shut down. So they're definitely in need of some replacement. And the cost of those just keeps going up and up and up. The truck that we would have out here in our bay, back in 2020, that style would have been about $500,000, roughly $500,000. Now I talked to a sales rep, and he's quoting me about $800,000 to replace that same truck like this. So the increase of $300,000 right there from 3 years ago,
No,
with a build time of about 2 years. So it is what it is. Sounds pretty ugly these days, but it's your community and it's your fire department, and this is the information we have, and that's what we're here to do, is share it with you. We're not going to beg you for a vote or anything like that. We just want you to be educated and make the choice that's good for you, your household, and your neighbors. That's it.
That's why we're here.
Yep, know what it's used for and our intent for. I can't set anything in stone because you never know what's going to happen between now and then. So I can't say that this is absolutely for a new truck, because we may have something else, whatever catastrophe may happen in the building that we may have to maintain. So I truly cannot put anything in stone what it would be. These are the priorities that we're looking at.
I think the chief will agree with me, though, that we fairly heavily committed towards facilities improvements and upgrades that have just gone way too long without being done. Both out at Brady and at the Wayne Station, there's
Right.
facility improvements that need to be done there. In terms of that, You know, we're sitting in a beautiful place here. There's always equipment needs and there's always rolling stock needs. But we want our taxpayers like you to know that, yeah, that's where our eye is right now. It really is on
Facilities.
the buildings and the rolling stock. We need to take care of this stuff.
So, hopefully that was kind of a good idea of what fit what you needed.
Well, I didn't want to just go in and vote yea or nay without any, information.
Right.
And I hadn't yet seen or anything in writing as to why we were asking for it and what it was going to be used for.
Have you put together a breakdown that people can have and sit down and look at it at home, as far as what you plan on spending your money on and what it would possibly cost?
That isn't right now, no. And we're still getting quotes for some of these projects.
Okay. So, before the levy goes up for vote, are you gonna have that out for people to see? Or are you just gonna have them vote on it and the majority not be able to see?
Well, we really don't even have a budget for next year yet. We're in that phase. And we'd almost have to cook up two budgets at the same time to give you that information. We've talked about it in open meetings before, what repairs on Brady are looking like happening.
Yeah, and
We're
there's
looking at almost $200,000 just beside that building.
Brady's. $200,000 for the Brady building. We're still working on some quotes for the water tower at Station 3,
Yeah.
2-3 Guinea Valley. Truck quotes, the hardest part we're having with truck quotes right now is they keep changing so rapidly. By the time we get one, it's moved. And so that's why that plan for a truck is truly just to start banking the money and then work on a plan, whether it's a pay over time, like you would pay for your automobile or lease type deal, or I don't believe you would be able just to outright pay for a new truck anymore, like you could years ago. So there's a couple different options that I've researched into, a couple companies out there that do that lease to own option, they call it. So I'm looking into those, but I haven't nailed anything down because currently we just don't have the funding to truly get into that yet. That's why I'm hoping this will take care of, or at least get us started in the right path.
Do you have a figure as to what, should the lid lift go into play, how much money that will add for the year?
It should add that first year, was I believe 364, currently $364,000 for that current year. But that's also based on new assessed values of property, so we don't have a solid number of what it would be. That was just based off of the current assessed values.
Right, and those are changing daily.
Correct. So it would be a very good lift for us to be able to fix these buildings, get started down the process, and put the funds where needed to get us in a better location, and then continue that 1% growth from there, which will be very, very nice.
It's too bad more people didn't show up.
Yeah.
That's the sad part.
I appreciate what you do, though. I mean, I see, well, I'm not going to quite count Stephen,
I wouldn't either.
but yeah, he's affiliated. But those of you that are here, it's worth it to me to see one of you, let alone 3 or 5 or 50. Just as long as somebody shows that interest. So that's why we're here too.
Well, and like Rich said, a lot of us included, were retired. Social Security just came out today, it's at 3.2%, which is squat compared to the inflation rate. And, we all have to make our budgets, our pensions don't go up,
And your Medicare premium will go up $10 right off
Is that,
the
I haven't even opened the book yet.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be, so.
So,
You're not taking
I'm
all
gonna
of
look
it,
at
you're
it.
taking part of it. So,
But, yeah, so
There you
that's
go.
why we were concerned, is to, how much is it gonna increase our taxes? And
That's everybody's first question, and it's a reasonable one.
is the district gonna do more in getting the information out to the public of the district?
We can try, yes. We got some mailings we can go through. We're gonna have to adjust some numbers on those mailings and see what we can get out.
Yeah, see, I knew about it from Facebook.
And try and reach out.
Thanks, Hogan.
You're welcome.
The vote committee's been hitting social media pretty hard as well as doing some door knocking.
Oh, okay, good.
All right.
Ray, you're awful quiet over there. Haven't seen you in a long time.
Well, these guys are the committee, and so we just kind of listen to what they say. I would like to say a little bit about, we're trying to stabilize the whole department, you know, as you know, as residents of District 2. It has been a big changeover in the last few years. We're trying to stabilize it now. We're trying to work with the paid and the volunteer staff to get them better equipment. We're trying to adjust our budget process to get more investment, like he said, to put money into investments so that we can save that towards maintenance and rig replacement and things. And I think we've done a pretty good job. We started about August doing all this. It's my first year here. Dave hasn't been here that long. Dale's the oldest one of the bunch as to being here, not the oldest one, age-wise.
Right, I feel that way.
Yeah. And the chief is new. He inherited a budget from last year, so it's a little bit tougher. We are trying to get everyone's opinions on the budget. We're having a budget workshop on the 28th. Starts at 10 o'clock of this month. And we're inviting all of our people to come in and see what we're doing with it. You know, we're trying to sharpen our pencils so that we don't have any extra just laying around doing nothing.
We're not trying to do the lid lift just so we can put money in the bank.
Right.
We've got things that have been set aside that we've prolonged and stretched out that have to be done. And tonight we're going to surplus a 1989 engine that most people can't drive unless they were a commercial truck driver. And even then it's hard to keep on the road. And that's a safety factor. We're going to have to get rid of that. And apparatus-wise, we're having to replace our medic unit. It's wore out, our first out medic unit, and that's critical for our people in the district. And we're going to have to get some current or more modern apparatus. But please don't think that we're just doing this to fill a bank account for us.
Oh, I did.
No,
I just wanted to
don't
know
want
where
anybody
it was
thinking that.
being earmarked for.
Right,
Yeah, I don't think people think that at all, Dale.
what's that?
I don't think people think that at all.
But a lot of people on some of these things, they think, oh, they're just gonna take it because they can. And that's one of the things that this board has never done. And there was a time we didn't even renew a bond when we could because people were buying stuff every so many years. And just because they could. And that's not what's going on today.
We have a lot of ideas about trying to get more people on the floor from the volunteer side. Maybe some residents that are going through a fire science degree. We brought this up, it was brought up to us. You know, to try and get more people to be able to respond during the day when most people are at work. And those would be just room and board and things of that nature. So we're trying to do a lot of stuff in a short period of time, and it's just a little bit tougher to do.
At one time, we had a student program from Puget Sound, and the district would pay their tuition and books, and they would come down here and spend X amount of days per week. And that helped during the daytime. A lot of those firefighters went on
to go to a career, but it helped our daytime shortage. And that program, they quit doing at Puget Sound. And it was a benefit to the district, and it was a benefit to the students, but that's no longer going on right now.
It's hard to get volunteers when they gotta work full-time now.
Yes.
The
It's down
volunteers-
nationwide. It's a national
Oh,
problem.
I know, it
Yes.
is.
It's
This
here.
whole county,
It's just-
we meet with our district commissioners for all the districts in the county. And that's the number one thing is, how do we get more people in that we're able to use during the day? Nighttime, you might get quite a few, but, because they're home. But as you say, people are working, they're working farther away from their houses now. And they have to go where the job is. So we can't rely on them 24/7, We can probably 18 hours out of the day,
And then they can be either fire or EMS or both, correct now?
but yes, they don't have to, if, some people don't like going into buildings that are burning.
Right.
I don't know, I don't like to go into fields that are burning. I'd rather take a house fire over a wildland fire any day.
Absolutely.
We opened up a tender driver position. Someone just wants to come and drive a water truck.
There you go, Rich.
Well, it's hitting the county. We're having more expenses because the county used to fund through the Transit Authority the EMS program that would train the EMTs and medics and keep up the certifications. But the county commissioner said the state made them stop it, so we have to pay for that now. And then when the citizens voted to create the enhanced 911 many years ago, the county would pay for the fire districts. And now they've turned that, they won't pay for it anymore, we have to pay for it, for the dispatch. And that was part of the agreement when it was voted on. The expenses, the county's trying to sharpen their pencils. But the bottom line is the fire districts are hurting. In fact, District 16 out at Capelas Crossing is no longer there. It's been absorbed by 2 other districts. Yeah, and there's places out there that they don't have medic service, if they could even find somebody for basic stuff, and then they have to rely, and everybody's working with each other to try to cover and do the best they can. That's like sometimes we may go to Aberdeen or Montesano, and they may come here. Everybody's trying to cover for each other.
Yeah, I hear a lot of down on the scanner, and people are driving, they're going everywhere.
This year, we've had probably 27% of our calls have been what we call overlapping calls, where multiple calls are happening at once. Which is, you figure about a quarter of our calls have been overlapping somehow.
Well, how many volunteers are coming in on board? How many new volunteers are you getting?
New volunteers, I believe this year we are at about, I think there's 8 in process or through the process. We have a new one that they just did an interview with last night. And we had a few that did not fit what we need, because unfortunately not everybody can. But the ones that are coming in are real excited. We actually had 2 of the new ones, 3 of the new ones last night for our regular training sessions. So they're pretty excited about being here. They're coming in, doing what we kind of call shift work, but they're working with the career staff during the daytime to get some experience and things like that. And so it's pretty exciting to see them, because when they're new, they're excited and they want to be here, and it's fun to watch. It lifts up the rest of them.
The volunteers, basically, they have to be trained as
Oh, yeah.
almost to the level of paid firefighters, and that's really tough to do when they're trying to do that as a volunteer and also working to support their family. And it's taken a lot of time for them from what it used to be. It used to be guys would come down, let's go spray some water, good enough. And with the state standards, that's all changed. And we certainly don't want to put somebody into a fire that they aren't capable of,
Anything else you think? If there's no other questions, we'll go ahead and close out this meeting. By all no means you have more questions that come up, please reach out to us. Stop by and see us. I'm usually here Monday through Friday in the building. If not, I can get, the crew will be here, they know how to get access to me, so. We'll see what we can answer for you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thanks for coming.